Morning, guys. We're going to do something today that we have never done before. No, it's not do something right or finish a project or nothing crazy like that. Okay, don't even think it. You guys probably remember the Suburban project. We had it for a little while in here, and we took it from barely running to where it completed a 3-hour trip. Never heard that before.
Passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour.
Anyways, luckily we sold it to Eric, who is a fan of the channel, watches the videos. God bless him. I don't know how he makes it through half of them, but he does. All of you guys, thank you. And he's been doing a lot of work on the Suburban, and he made a little video. And we're going to check in with him. And this is the longest, worst intro I've ever done. Probably. I dig it. I hope you guys do too. So, here's your Tuesday morning tech tip from Pugliese Speed Shop. All right, so who all remembers the Suburban? We'll throw a picture up right here in case you don't, but everybody should. It wasn't that long ago. We had it in the shop, I don't know, 6, 8, 9 months, something like that. It was the project we completed to Pugliese Speed Shop standards just before we picked up the OBS. But actually, we were finishing it as we picked up the OBS and promised not to touch the OBS until we finished the Suburban. We took it on a trade, right? You guys hear me talk about it a lot. I think actually not too long ago, I tried to trade Eric this for the Suburban, I think, because I was under the understanding that he was having way better luck than I was. And not that he's having bad luck, but something people don't think about. And Eric he's awesome. He mentioned this a million times when we were talking when he bought the truck, and then he talked about it a bunch since then in the comments and all that kind of stuff. And that is, you buy something like that. It's an 89, right? It's got super low miles on it, but it was neglected. Sounds like a couple other things we might know something. Yeah. When that happens, guys, you're buying a project, right? So some people that don't do this very often, maybe you see something on Maple Motors is a big one. They have awesome cars for sale. It's a dealership down in Tennessee, all old muscle cars and stuff. But he'll tell you, the guy tells you all day long, they got issues, man. They're older vehicles. He'll put every little scratch, nick, dent, whatever on there, every problem he thinks it may have. He talks about it. But people still buy these cars and think that they're buying a brand new Camry off the lot and they're not going to ever have a problem with it. They're going to run it for 100 years, and that's going to be that. And guys, sometimes that's the case. This guy right here, once we got the new motor dialed and all that thing, I ran it for like 2 or 3 years without one issue, 2 issues. One wiring issue, which was just one wire. And I think then the heater core started leaking or something. Like little stuff, guys. And that's because there's not a whole lot to that thing. So that kind of stuff helps out. But you gotta, if you're buying something older, you're buying something that you know is a project, you need to have the attitude that Eric had going into it, because he absolutely killed it. So I'm going to shut up, show you what he sent me, and see what's going on.
What's up, Chaz? Wanted to give you an update on the Suburban. So we did make it home, and it went pretty well. But there were a few things that kind of didn't go right away. So we left your house and headed to the gas station, and right away, when we filled it all the way up, the tank kind of overflowed, and you could tell there was hoses leaking. So, okay, no big deal, I don't care. So we kept going and went like Route 17 home through Gloucester. So we didn't have to get up too high, but honestly, she just kind of cruised. When we got to the house, I noticed, it's leaking oil all around the bell housing. And it was also leaking some fluid from the rear brakes. Well, that's probably wheel cylinder issue or something. So me and my son redid the rear brakes within about a couple of days of having it home. And then it was on to trying to figure out what was going on with this oil leak. So we worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. And I ended up tearing everything down because I cleaned everything up. And I said, this has got to be coming from the intake. You know, this has got to be coming from the back side. It's a 350. You know, everybody glues it. And it's common to leak, right? So I get the carb off and all the... oh, the other thing, mention this, the other thing that I noticed right away while we were driving was there was a hard, like 2-3 shift. It was real hard. So I pulled the carb off and pulled the TV cable off, pulled the throttle cable off and everything, and started noticing that the top of the intake looked funny. I've got it sitting right here now. You can see like someone has wallowed out the holes. See here. Huh. That's got to be for the wrong 350. So this has got more of the Vortex style head. So you've got angled, canted center bolts on that one. So I ended up ordering Edelbrock intake manifold. That was the right kind, and that's what I swapped in. And while we were doing that, we found that the fuel pressure sensor in the back of the motor back there, you can see that fuel pressure sensor back there was actually leaking too. So what do we do back here? I made some brackets. I'm not sure you can see them. Here, you can see them better here. Made some brackets to hold my spark plugs. I kind of redid this bracket here so you could actually get to the bolts. We ran PTFE lines front to back. Changed battery cable post like you and I talked about. And I cleaned up the wiring real good. All the wiring loom as much as I could, and I wasn't going to take all this stuff out and depin it and stuff, but I did kind of trace some stuff back and get rid of wires that he had just dead ended going to nowhere. New valve covers, obviously. Those are a little bit different. Those last ones were full of junk, and I just couldn't see putting them back on there and getting crap done in the motor. So obviously new gaskets for everything. Here's the new TV cable. I still haven't cut the end off of it. I got a different bracket and changed that bracket. I actually had to modify the bracket as soon as I changed it. Had to cut it up because it wouldn't work with the intake manifold. I did change the A-arms that you gave me. I did change all the shocks. And oh, got a good sticker. So we're roadworthy now. We've been driving for a while. But I gotta say, everything that I felt like you did, from what I could see, top notch, man. But the previous owner, I think, kind of cobbed some stuff together with what he had. The Quadrajet carburetor is a piece of crap. It runs okay, I guess, but there's no choke hooked up. There's no vacuum advance wasn't hooked up. So I've still got a few things to sort. I'm probably going to end up putting an Edelbrock carburetor on it, just kind of the plug and play sort of deal. But that's it, man. Just a quick update. Wanted to kind of tell you that it wasn't without incident, but we persevered, and she's basically roadworthy. I'm not sure I would drive it up in the mountains where you were headed either. Right now I've just been going on flat ground, but she runs pretty good for now.
What's funny, guys, I've talked with Eric a few times. We texted when he first got home. He's like, I made it, dude. You know, and he mentioned something about the gas, and I started, well, you hear stories about, especially something that we were pretty, as my grandfather used to say, I knew that thing intimately and well, right? Because we messed with it for a while. We ran into some problems along the way. We did a lot of cosmetic stuff, a lot of wiring stuff, and there was still clearly more wiring to be done. When we got it, nothing was working, if you guys remember. and then little by little, we got all the lights working, and hid some wires. When I say hid, I mean neatly ran them. The whole dash, we had to redo all the wiring on that. If I remember, starter was a nightmare. The way that was cobbled up. He did a lot of what do they call it? Fabric cobbling. So Sean, the guy I got it from, good dude, but there's different levels of how people do things, right? He clearly loved having projects. He had a ton of square body stuff. He was driving an OBS Suburban 3/4 ton one, and that was kind of a project. So he didn't, as long as it ran, he didn't care, right? I got buddies like that. Chip. As long as it's running, they don't care, right? It's going. So then you got other guys that are very, very meticulous. Kevin, right? And I'm not saying one way is right, one way is wrong. It's just I consider myself an in the middle guy. Like, I want it nice and neat and working. Some things will drive me nuts, and some stuff I just don't care about, right? And when I say don't care about, that's not probably the right thing to say, but little like this one here, right? As far as I'm concerned, it's just about perfect. If you walk around it for a while, there's some little rusty spots, little scratches, and paint might not match, and this and that. I don't care. I'm not building show cars. If you guys are watching the channel, you know that, right? So I said there's different levels, right? But Sean told me when I got the Suburban from him. If you remember, I took it on a trade, right? And he delivered it to me and picked up the 65 I had, and so everything went great, other than the fact it was snowing, it was cold and stuff. But so he told me a lot of things he did. He's like, yeah, man, I got he said he dropped the gas tank, cleaned it out, and put some new stuff on there. I think what he did was, the old throw a chain in there or some rocks or marbles or whatever, and you shake it all around and get the rust out. And that works, right? And I don't know what he did, but that's kind of what it seemed like. I never put more than 5 gallons in it. Eric knew all this stuff because we talked quite a bit before he got here, and we talked for a while when he came to pick the truck up, and then when he came and looked at it, and then he came later with tags and he was going to pick it up. We talked a whole bunch about everything because I was not trying to hide anything. Everything I knew about, I told him about. That's where he got the A-arms. The one was rusted in the weirdest way. I've never seen rusted before. I showed it on the channel. So I'm glad you got those swapped out. I wasn't concerned structurally, but it was just weird, And I had some shocks and some air shocks. I gave them. So I'm glad you got all that stuff put in there, dude. It's awesome. You worked through the fuel tank thing, which, like I said, the gas gauge worked when it wanted to, which wasn't very often. But it seems like you got that sorted out. And what else you just mentioned there? The intake. Oh, I don't know if Sean's watching. I know he's seen a couple of these videos. You thinking, dude? It was when I remember looking at everything. So that was originally a TBI motor, right? That something went wrong, whether it was the computer or a lot of times I find out that in the distributor so you got your ignition module, and then there's something else in there, some electronic, and that screws up your spark. And I know people deal with that a lot. So I don't know if that was the issue. I think, I gave Eric all the TBI stuff, and when Sean swapped it over to a carburetor, he didn't cut anything. That's what he said. I think I did find some things cut, but maybe he didn't do them. Who knows? But there was some things cut, but he tried to keep it so you could swap it back. So that's why I gave everything to Eric. If he wanted to figure that out. I personally wouldn't, and it looks like Eric's not going to either, and I don't blame him one bit. But I did notice everything, like the intake looked new, the carb looked new. And I don't think it wasn't new, it was new. The distributor, you had those fancy red wires, I think they said JDM or something on them, which that was kind of weird, but everything looked newer. but kind of on the cheaper side. Now, yeah, we ain't above saving a buck around here, right? But we didn't put any of that stuff on there. So what I think happened is, I think they were all Amazon scores, where that's going to find your cheapest stuff, made in China stuff, whatever. It looked an awful lot like an Edelbrock intake, like a Performer intake. It looked a lot like an MSD distributor. It looked a lot like an actual Quadrajet carb. But I don't think any of it was legitimately made by those companies, which then, tolerances are a little off and that kind of thing, which would explain why the carb kind of sucked. Like you said, choke and stuff like that. It doesn't explain why those holes were all elongated. I'm thinking, like you said, it was for the wrong one. And Sean did strike me as the kind of guy that will make something work. So I kind of think that's what happened there. But you figured it out, dude, and it's looking good. I'm glad she's treating you well. I think Edelbrock carb is definitely a way to go. What's like the 1408, I think it is, that has it's like a 650 carb, 600 carb, something like that. And it's got the electric choke on it. And yeah, they're plug and play on those small block Chevy, man, especially if you put it with a Performer intake. Perfect. That's actually what I'm about to put on my 65. You can't see it, but I pointed at it. And I have a Performer intake on there. So it's for a daily driver with a little bit of, get up, perfect combo. So definitely think you're nailing it there. Yeah, dude, I'm just super happy you got the truck, because I was thinking about it, and I was halfway thinking, I did a video actually. There was 3 things I was thinking about trading. All the trade possibilities I had, there was a ton. And I broke it down to 3, and really only 2. One was just there as a distractor, right? It's like taking a test in high school. But was a Suburban, or it was like a 02 or something like that, 04 Harley, Softail, I think it was. There was a Softail. It looked pretty good. It wasn't done my style, but it was kind of a hell yeah, brother type of build. But I wanted to trade for that. And my plan was to trade for that, not touch it, and just sit it in the shop and then off it in the spring, right? That was kind of my plan. It fell through. The guy lived in Jersey. It was snowing. He was a plow guy. He had to make his money. I get that. So he's like, hey, man, I don't know when I'm going to be able to do it. So I ended up taking the Suburban. And, man, there was some times along that trail that I was regretting my decision. I'm sure you guys remember it. Sometimes we'd find some things that were cobbled up, or we'd find something that was just weird. And, man, we got frustrated a lot during the way. But I'll tell you what, if I could go back, do it over again, I wouldn't change a thing. Maybe I would. No. I mean, really, I can't think of anything that stands out. I was trying to be funny, but we already know I'm not. So there was, seriously, that thing, it worked out perfectly. This is exactly how it's supposed to work. We had a guy that liked that thing, and I've actually sent him pictures of it when I was selling it and stuff, and told him everything we were doing with it, and he was super happy. He's like, man, I'm glad you got it and kind of saved it, because it was going down a bad path, right? And that's exactly how I feel right now, is I'm so glad Eric got it. Because I liked it. There's no secret. I said it a million times. I liked it, didn't love it. But I respected it enough and liked it enough that I knew it needed to be saved, guys. I mean, it's a square body Suburban. I think it had 60-something thousand original miles. Pretty solid truck. And it had a cool look. It's just I said I don't regret anything.
Mm-hmm. You have no regrets?
Dad?
No, like not even a single letter.
I'm super glad. Like I said, this is how it's supposed to happen. You save something and you get it to the right guy, and Eric's killing it. And he just told me actually it's about to go on its second long trip. He's going to head to his brother's house in Greenville, North Carolina, I think he said. So we wish you the best of luck, dude. And let us know, man. I'm sure you're going through her. I'm sure she's going to be good to go. But let us know how the trip goes, and can't wait to hear about it. Thanks for watching, guys.